like I said, I remember the promo from HBO, and it was after they had gotten renewed, and they had like they had their deal with the devil promo, and at the very end of the promo, they were spinning the record backwards, and it said "The Kids in the Hall" when you played it backwards. Which for any youngsters that might be checking this out, they used to have these things called records, and you would put it on a record player, and then you would put a needle on it, and it would spin and play music. But if you spun it backwards, sometimes garbled speech would come out, but sometimes the devil spoke to you.
Let the big fish hook themselves. You're the bait. The bait is you.
If you ever needed an example as to how dumb the 80s and 90s could get, there's your answer right there. Somebody really thought, like, oh, he's Satan, and he talks to our kids through that evil music, that heavy metal. Oh, look, Mom, Poison is not the devil's music.
Well, they were aiming at the. No, that whole thing started. That whole thing started with Judas Priest. There was they tried to tie some kid's suicide to Judas Priest. They're one of the songs. I can't remember what the song was off the top of my head. And then you had the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing going on at the same time. So you had the whole Satanic Panic thing happen in there in the early 80s, which you're a practitioner of.
I
was a practitioner of much later.
I remember that fucking awful movie. It was like one of Tom Hanks' very first movies.
Yes.
And it was all about like the evils.
Faces and monsters.
Yes, it was the evils. How Satan will reach up through your character sheet and your 20-sided die and snatch your soul right out your chest. So and as a Dungeons and Dragons practitioner back in those days, trying to talk my mom and dad off of a cliff that no, the Dungeon Master's Manual and the Player's Handbook, these are not satanic texts.
There's spells in those books.
It's fucking a rule. Look, if you can read through a spell description like levitation, where it says that levitation will allow you to move up or down, but it will not allow you to move side to side, but a player can levitate up to a ceiling and use their hands to walk themselves left or right. If you think that that's Satan's work, Satan is really fucking phoning it in. So, he's not even trying. Look, I love the game, but the Player's Handbook's a dry fucking read. It's like reading 120 pages of stereo instructions. If Satan wanted my soul, he needed to throw a titty in there.
Gary Gygax was not the best illustrator in the world, or whoever illustrated those fucking books, those early books.
Gary Gygax did the original artwork for like the original, and like the original ones, if you ever saw an original or a second edition printing, they were like printed on photocopy paper and like saddle stapled, so it was like half sheets. And like it was just like office paper with like one sheet of extra thick office paper, and that was the cover. So I've seen a first and a second edition version of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like really like, how the fuck did this ever catch on?